Good morning, class. So today we're actually going to start working on creating a strong thesis statement, argumentative style, because we've already talked about creating thesis statements when we did our informative and explanatory essays earlier in this year. So now we're going to talk about how to create a strong thesis that's argumentative, that's persuasive, that says that you need to do or you should feel a certain way, because those are different than just making a strong statement. So I'm going to walk you through this PowerPoint right here. Please take notes as you go along. And then when it says it's a your turn type of thing, try to do those on your own as well. And I'll actually give you guys time to give yourself some answers. So let me press begin. All right, so writing a thesis statement that is argumentative. So first off, what is a thesis? Yes, Fabian, a thesis statement is a sentence that tells your writers what your essay is about. This is the main point of your essay. When it comes to an argumentative essay, you have to take a standpoint on a controversial issue. And this is something that some of you guys really need to focus on with some of your topics, is that you have to have a pro and somebody like a proponent for it, and you also have to have somebody who is against it. And these have to be formal topics. They cannot be e-games are better than real life sports, or pizza is the best food out there. No, we have to take these seriously, and we have to make academic arguments like, should education be free? Should we go back to normal after the COVID-19 pandemic has run its course, or should we still have some measures in place? We have to be serious with these topics so that you can grow as a strong formal writer and get out of some of those middle school writing habits. So the thesis statements is typically located at the end of the introduction paragraph. Again, we've talked about that in the past. So here are some strong examples of what your thesis should look like once we get to writing your thesis. And you'll notice all of these are formal topics. These are things that can have research, that you can find evidence for, and that you can find reputable evidence for. So we have some examples. Senior pranks should not be allowed. You can find data on that. You can also take into the fact that we could cross out not and say senior pranks should be allowed, and then you could also have an argument for that. You have to have something where you have two different opinions. Again, the death penalty should be reinstated. Prayer should be allowed in public schools. Human cloning should be legalized. So this is a good example of what your topic should start, or your thesis, excuse me, should start to look like once we start to get there. So please make sure to come back to this when I ask you to start creating some thesis statements. So how is a thesis different from a topic? Well, a topic is one or two words that the paper is about. So some of you guys kind of did this with your bubble map. It's kind of that central word or that central topic that you thought would be something neat to write about. So you still do need a topic because that's your subject. But what a thesis does is it's a sentence that argues a stance on the topic in an argumentative essay. So this is the part that, again, makes an argumentative statement different from an explanatory or informative essay. I'm actually going to jump out of this and see if I can get one of my writing tools. You guys remember my lovely llama background, so that I can actually use my smartboard pen with this. So give me 1 second. If it takes too long, then I'm just going to go back to the PowerPoint, but I think that it'll work. Let me see if I can do it. If not, then it's no big deal. Okay, so let me see if I can use these outside of this. Go into here. Can I? Nope, it's fine. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through what's the difference between a topic and how we can create it into a thesis. So your topic, again, is a subject. It's 1 or 2 words. That's your basis. So this topic is senior pranks. How can we change it into a thesis? We say senior pranks should not be allowed. So again, we're growing from one topic and changing it into an argumentative sentence that has a standpoint. Same thing for this one. Death penalty is the topic. Then we change it to the death penalty should be reinstated. If you'll notice, we have suggestive words like should that are used in each and every single one of these thesis statements. You should have that word in your thesis. Prayer in school changes to prayer should be allowed in public schools, and then cloning humans becomes human cloning should be legalized. So let's see if you guys can do this on your own. So fill in the blanks. We have our topic side, and then we have our thesis statement side. So for the first one, let's figure out, based on what this thesis is, what this topic could be. So take a moment and read it. High schools need harsher penalties for cheating. So what could the topic be for this one? Yes, Preston, you are right. The topic for this one could be, could be cheating. Exactly. Let me see if I can draw on this. Again, this is my first time doing this, guys, so just bear with me. Maybe next time. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so cheating would be the answer for whatever this thesis is. So then let's look at the next one, animal testing. What kind of thesis could we create from the topic of animal testing? Kaylee, I see that your hand is raised, and Kaylee said that animal testing should not be performed. Yes, that would make a clear argumentative thesis. What about beauty pageants? If we took the topic beauty pageants, how could we create that into a thesis? Samari, yes, we could create the thesis that beauty pageants are a vital aspect of growing for a young woman. Sure, that could be an argumentative thesis. Now, what about this thesis? What could this topic be? Teenagers should consider taking a gap year before college. Yes, Ethan, I see that your hand is raised, and gap year would be the correct answer for topic. So you guys can see how we grow from one subject and then we change it into an argumentative statement. This is what you should be doing as you are creating those questions from the bubble map that you created on Thursday. So how is a thesis different from a topic sentence? A thesis is a sentence that argues a stance on the topic in an argumentative essay. Again, this is the arguing point. Whereas a topic sentence appears at the beginning of each body paragraph and it supports the thesis statement. It explains why. So when I asked you to create those different questions for your topic, they could become your topic sentences for your body paragraphs if they explain the why of your thesis. So your thesis is your overall stance on your topic for your essay, whereas your topic sentence is the main point of each body paragraph. So thesis is changing into topic sentences. So freshmen should have their own hallway. This could be my thesis. What could be a topic sentence that supports that? Transitioning to high school is emotionally overwhelming for some students. So if you notice, this topic sentence right here gives the why for the freshmen should have their own hallway. And that's what topic sentences do, because I can create my own paragraph just focusing on this topic sentence. Same thing for here. The thesis of the overall paper is teachers should not be armed. What is a topic sentence that could support that? Teachers' guns could potentially be confiscated by people who have intentions to use them for evil. So again, this could be the beginning of a paragraph, and then you could offer evidence from reliable resources, giving explanations, all of those things to further delve into that topic sentence. Again, we have the thesis of teenagers should be required to be 18 before signing up for social media accounts. And then where is the why for this? Some social media accounts like Snapchat have maps that reveal individuals' locations. Again, strong topic sentence for a body paragraph. Print advertising is becoming obsolete, meaning things like newspapers, magazines you can actually hold in your hand. Where is the topic sentence for the why? Today's society is steadily becoming more dependent on digital forms of entertainment. And again, you could go further into that in your body paragraphs. So if we're going back to Peel, like we've talked about in the past, these would all be my P for my body paragraphs. So now it's your turn. Here are your theses. And then what are some topic sentences that we could create that support or give the why for these theses over here? Books containing issues of racism should be banned from high school libraries. Have some time to create a topic sentence for that. All right, the next one. Journalists have a duty to report news stories without bias. What's a topic sentence that we could create to further support this right here? Third one, tobacco companies should not be allowed to advertise their products. What would be a topic sentence for a body paragraph for this thesis? And if you guys need to pause the video and answer these as you go along, obviously that's fine by me. Just make sure to press play again. And then your last one, parents should pay children for good grades. Give me a strong topic sentence that supports that. All right, so thesis statements that could have errors in them. So now we're not just looking at, okay, I'm creating a thesis, but how can I create a strong thesis that doesn't have errors? So you could have mistakes like these where your thesis is way too broad. Some of you have chosen just sports in general. That topic would be way too broad. So here would be a bad example. Physical education classes need improvements. Okay, what type of improvements? There are so many different improvements that could be had inside of physical education that would be larger than a 5-paragraph essay. So let's narrow it down where we can really hone in. So what's a better thesis statement? Physical education classes in high school need to be more rigorous. So now we have a definitive thing to focus on rather than these broad improvements where you would be essentially shooting at a bunch of topics but not really aiming in on one thing. So football is a major problem. This is way too broad. How could we break down these problems or this major problem into one thing that we could focus on? Preston, you are right, which you actually talked about this in your explanatory informative essay. So football is known to cause CTE or concussion trauma, whatever the thing is, you know, with the concussion. So that would be definitely honing in and focusing on the major thing to make your thesis not as broad. Here's another common error. The thesis is phrased as a question instead of a statement or an argument. So when it comes to arguments, we have to come in strong, believing that what we're saying is true. So it cannot be posed as a question because questions are not affirmative. They're not strong. When we pose questions, we're questioning whether it's valid. So do not create a thesis statement that is a question. No, ma'am. So here's a bad example. Did you know earbuds are dangerous? Well, no. Tell me why. Give me the affirmative. So adolescents should not be allowed to listen to earbuds. Okay, now we have a clear, definitive thing that we are focusing on. So let's look. Does Facebook need a dislike button? So again, this thesis is not worded as a statement. We need a strong statement, so let's change it. Amaya, yes, we could change this to Facebook needs a dislike button to show the full gambit of emotions on a post. Sure, that's a statement and not a question, and that works. Here's another common error. The thesis is not an argument. It's just informative. So I don't want you to just tell me something. I want you to try to convince me of something. And those are two very different things. Because notice here, the Chicago Cubs won the 2016 World Series. Okay, that's informative. That is a proven fact. But what you want to do in an argument is to prove something. So the Chicago Cubs are the best team in Major League Baseball. Okay, now we have a statement that you're going to need to argue and prove. So here's yours. People spend the majority of their days on their cell phones. Guys, that's an already known fact. But we especially know that because of what we have been reduced to do inside of our homes over these last few weeks. So this is informative. We all know this. How can I make that argumentative? Yes, Michael, we could change this into saying the time that people spend on their phones is taking time away from their families. Okay, that could be argumentative because it's giving an opinion and is making it into a statement. And then here is another one. The thesis doesn't offer any specific information. This could also be where we just have something that's too broad. So this is a bad example. Drug testing should be required. Okay. Better. All high school athletes should be drug tested twice per year. This is specific. We want to get down to the nitty-gritty. So again, your turn. Technology in the classroom interferes with learning. Okay, how could I narrow that down? How could I be more specific? You are right, Samari. How we could change this is saying technology in the classroom could inhibit the ability of students working directly together, person to person. Sure, yeah. That is specific and it's an argumentative statement. That works. And here's another one. The thesis cannot be logically argued from two sides. Here's the thing with an argument. You have to have somebody that says yes, and you have to have somebody who says no. So procrastinating on homework can be beneficial. Well, yeah, we already know that procrastinating on homework could actually be beneficial if you're better at working under pressure. So here's a better one. Procrastination is more beneficial than people might think. Now you're being persuasive. Zombies are not real. This thesis statement cannot be logically argued from two sides. So how could we change it? Fonzie, you are right. We could change this into maybe something like it is being proven by advances in medicine that the appearance of zombies could eventually take place. Sure, that could have a yes, I agree with that, or a no, I don't agree with that side. And here is another one. The thesis does not sound formal or knowledgeable. Remember, we always want to sound like we are educated and that we are academic. So here's a bad example. People spend too much time on smartphones playing stupid games. This right here, this is not academic language. So how can we use this same thought process but elevate it into something that is more formal? People should abandon their smartphones and revert to flip phones to reclaim their lives. You may not agree with that, but it is definitely more formal than people spend too much time on their smartphones playing stupid games. So let's see. The president has no idea what he was doing and should wage war against North Korea immediately. So this thesis needs to sound more intelligent and less inflammatory, less like inflammatory meaning offensive or things of that nature. So how could we fix this? You are right, Cheyenne. We could change this to the president should make wiser decisions in the ways that he is going about with international trade or anything like that. Again, we don't want to be inflammatory or accusatory, but we do want to be argumentative. Next one, the thesis statement is not one concise sentence. It needs to be to the point, and it needs to be one sentence. Here's a bad example. Apps are unnecessary. They waste people's time. Let's join these two sentences together to make one concise statement. Apps are not worth the time people spend on them. There we go. One concise statement. Here is your turn. Paper books are better than ebooks. Hardcover books are better than paper books. This is just really too wordy. There's just too much going on, and it's more than one sentence. So how can we make it into one sentence? Yes, Tiz, you are right. We could change this into paperback books are better than ebooks, but hardcover books are the best of all. Sure, that's now one complete statement, and it's one sentence. The thesis statement should not contain a first or second person pronoun. Those are informal. I should not see I or you anywhere in this paper. You are arguing a standpoint, but you are not speaking from first person. So rather than, I believe social media is making teenagers more narcissistic, we just change it to social media is making people more narcissistic. So if you have the tendency to do this right here, just get rid of that and then just copy and paste. Social media is making people more narcissistic. Again, anytime that you put I or you into something, it makes it informal, and that's not what we're looking for. I think that pop culture is important enough to be studied in school. Thesis statements should not have first person or second person pronouns. Again, how we can easily fix this is just take out I think that. Get rid of that. And then just say pop culture is important enough to be studied in school. Perfect. So what have we learned? Let's recap. So we've learned that a thesis statement is an argumentative, one sentence stance on a topic. And we grow our thesis by creating topic sentences that give the why for our thesis statement. So if you need to go back at any point in this PowerPoint, in this video, go for it. What I mainly want you to focus on is this difference right here. Because again, what you have created from your bubble map are these. So how can we change these? How can we change these and make them into argumentative thesis statements like this? If you guys have any questions or concerns, or you still need help on understanding what exactly to do, you know where to find me. Have a good rest of your day, guys. I miss you.